Downhere. How you guys doing tonight?
We're good.
Yeah.
Backstage.
All right, we're backstage for a show here in Cumming, Georgia. Crowd is coming in. Well, what other music are you guys listening to at the moment? Anything that's come out recently that you're into that you can tell your fans about?
Really like the new Need to Breathe record.
That's Owl City's new record. Kind of different, cool, electronic, dancey kind of stuff. Well, we're in writing mode right now, so it's kind of a good idea to kind of expose ourselves to newer stuff.
Just bought the new Muse album, everybody's talking about it, so I thought I needed to have it.
Oh,
I
sweet.
heard a little bit of it, it's like, wow, yeah.
Were there any bands when you guys started that you'd consider as a mentor for you guys?
You want to zoom in on that right there?
Javs
Of the Day. Yeah.
Javs of the Day. They were a big inspiration for us.
Yeah.
Jars was probably an influence from Mark and I early on. Still listen to some of those earlier records as a source of,
One of my early influences was Keith Green, as far as his total sold-out devotedness to, he wasn't just doing music for music, but it was part of his life, and that just kind of was kind of an incubation period as far as when I was, figuring out what I want to do with my life. So it came at an opportune time when I was figuring out what's going on.
Are there any sermons or pastors that you guys really dig that you listen to?
Yeah, definitely. We don't get to go to church a whole lot, so sermons really inform a lot of our music, our songs, our ideas. So Jason and I have a couple favorites, especially that we listen to. Are Robbie Zacharias, who's a brilliant apologist. Apologist. Made it too long.
Give it a John Piper.
John Piper, Mark Driscoll from Marsville Church.
Ortberg.
John Ortberg.
And then our home church, Fellowship Bible Church in Franklin.
How do you guys personally stay connected with God? I know you're probably traveling a lot and doing things like you said. You listen to sermons. What's your personal life like as far as your Christian faith and your walk?
I know for me it's just a matter of making sure I'm sharing my Christian walk with other believers. And on the road it's great because I've got these guys around who are real strong, and we're all kind of into the same, like all those podcasts and sermons, and always reading different books and stuff. I started reading one by Ravi Zacharias, later two called The Grand Weaver, and so it's like these things are always sort of talked about in the band, and then at home I've got my church, and then my family little community group that sort of meets. So yeah, there's all sorts of outlets there that need to be available with how much we're away.
For us, the amount of travel and stuff we do, it's very hard to have any semblance of routine with that sort of thing. I think it's just a matter of the heart, and spending time talking, praying to God, spending time in the Word, filling up with, like Glenn was saying, listening to other people talking about the Word, and fellowshipping with other believers, whenever there's a chance, a lot of times these festivals and stuff, backstage, we have little conversations that, it's a matter of passion, I think, and if you make time for it in your day.
I think a really valuable thing that I think all of us have is just having the people in our lives that we can be totally open with. And if you can't share all of your junk with at least one person, then you're just living so alone. That's not going to work. And I know for me, I have the benefit of these guys, and my wife, and other people back home. So that's a huge part.
What's your favorite thing about being a rock star?
To me, it's making music.
You guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Singing, playing songs, and that we certainly don't consider ourselves. You asked that question kind of tongue in cheek, I'm sure, because I don't think you talk to many people that actually consider themselves rock stars. I certainly don't feel like a rock star. Not this week. I was installing hardwood floor at my house and it was beat up.
Oh, cool.
And last week, the week before. But I'm almost done.
I'm just happy not to be a roofer in Houston in July.
Yeah. Typically, how does your band go about creating a new song? You said you were kind of writing right now and going through that. Is there a process that you guys do? Lots of bands have different ways that they create songs?
Make coffee, loaf around the house, stare at the piano. It's pretty much the
Basically, that's
listen to a sermon.
Yeah. Do you start with a melody first or words first? Anything?
Well, music comes easier, but song's not complete without a lyric, and you can write melodies all day and not have a song because you don't have a lyric. So I like to start with a general lyrical kind of nugget and then form the song around that. Generally how the best work gets done.
Okay.
There was a season that I would just kind of leave it to the fates to see what happened. And sitting at the piano playing the same riff over and over and over again, or in front of Pro Tools and listening to the same loop 100 times until something hit. Sometimes it would or wouldn't, but I think it's better to find the central thing, and then the song kind of writes itself around the idea. It's not like you have to. Once the passion for it is there, the music kind of comes along. So yeah, that's been my mode for my last song, but I've only written one song yet. So for this record, because I've been installing hardwood floors like I've said.
For myself and the founder Jay, I wanted to ask. He turned me on to a song, and it was "Cathedral Made of People." Is there anything you could tell us about inspiration on that, or any background on that?
I worked really hard on that song. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted the song to be exactly about. It started out as the lyric used to be, "We are a people, not a steeple," or something like that.
Yeah.
So the song kind of started out with a little bit of a negative connotation. Hey, we're not this, So after rewriting the song 5 or 6 times, I finally realized, well, I should make it a song about what we are instead of what we're not. So I still kept with the idea of the building, the physical representation of the church, and I just wanted it to be a song about to remind believers who and what they are, because it's when times are easy, you don't really think about that stuff. When hard times hit, it's you really got to know your identity. So it's really just a song about our identity as a believers. Pretty simple.
And then how about your new song, "How Many Kings"? Anything to say about that one?
Well, for one, it's on our new Christmas record that's coming out. And for us, it's not a new song. For a lot of people, it will be, but it was released to radio last year, 2 years ago, right? For the Christmas season. And lots of people got it. A lot of people responded to it, so we decided to kind of chase down that idea and follow it up with a record. And Mark wrote the song.
It's just when I was writing the song, I was just kind of, I knew I was trying to write a Christmas song, and Christmas is pretty little intimidating for a writer, because it's been written about so many times. One new angle, and I don't know if it was a new angle, but for me it was kind of a fresh way of looking at it, just kind of thinking about what's my favorite thing about the gospel, and my favorite thing about the gospel is that God just chooses to do things in a different, totally opposite way than I would ever think of, when it comes to grace and humility, and how He showed us that in coming as a baby in an animal's eating trough. So that's kind of the launching pad for How Many Kings. It's just a rhetorical question.
What's the most fun you've had recently? Anybody want to talk about anything they've done or you guys have done together, or something? Any stories to tell?
We got stuck on a strange road in Ontario, Western Ontario. Sometimes the GPS makes poor decisions, and we make the poor decision of following those poor decisions. Anyway, we ended up on the road with our big 15-passenger van and trailer. And if you reached out the window about this far, you'd be getting whipped by trees on either side. Jason eventually climbed out and stood on top of the van while we drove down the skirt. It was puddle, mud, it was crazy, yeah.
We were literally off-roading with the van.
At one point I looked up at the window and we're like, oh, we're driving down a beach. That's good.
Awesome.
wow.
So that was a long time. I mean,
We were on that road a while. Yeah.
Almost 20 miles.
How can your fans become more part of what you guys are doing? Are there any causes you're into? Is there anything where they can connect with you? And
I think we've, as a ministry, really navigated in some ways passively, and hopefully with the hopes that God would really lead us, and allow us to do what we can do, where we can do it. And that's been a faith thing for us, just really trusting that God can use this, in this moment, this small capacity, whatever the interview is, whatever the room is, just sort of taking this moment captive and letting God do with it what He can. And I guess our encouragement to people would be to do the same. Our sort of our little soundbite that people ask, how can we do what you guys do, and or how can we be part of what you guys do? Well, love Jesus and serve people. I think that's probably the best we can do. That's the best we can offer the world. Trust Him that He makes it something. Don't try to attach yourself to something that's big, other than the bigness of God's plan, and that often takes the shape of working in the corners, in small capacities and in small ways. And God makes those things great. So,
We've been partnered with World Vision for a number of years, and so that's kind of when we're on the road talking about a cause and whatnot. That would be something that we've just been partnering with them and trying to get kids sponsored and help people, give some people a tangible thing to walk away from the concert with, as opposed to just another CD and another buzz for the night. And then we just involved our fans and helped them raise money to buy a bus. We've been in a van for a long time, and just kind of gave them the opportunity to help out. We're rock stars, but not rich rock stars, and they really stepped up to the plate and responded. And so hopefully next time we'll be stuck on a road in a van or in a bus.